Hello, dear students. I am Zeeshan Sir. Before random thoughts start striking through your mind, that is it really possible to score such high marks within just a span of 10 days? Let's hear a very short story. And after the short story, we'll be looking at a few questions from the 2020 prelims paper to see how beautifully logical techniques can help us to solve questions about which we might not be having any idea whatsoever. And then lastly, we'll be talking about the Revealed Club, in which I'll be teaching these very skills to you guys in a span of 10 days. So starting with the short story, we all have heard this story in our childhood. The story of the thirsty crow. Like when the crow got really thirsty, he started searching for water and he found a jar which was half filled with water. But the crow couldn't access that water. So the crow went ahead and started putting in pebbles, and slowly the water started rising up. So symbolically, let's consider that water in the jar to be our knowledge base, and the pebbles that we are putting in the jar, let's again symbolically consider them to be our logical skills required to solve the paper. Now coming to the main question, if the water in the jar is too less, that means if your knowledge base is too less, if you have just started preparing for the exam, then no matter how many pebbles we put into the jar, how many techniques we employ, you are not likely to score very high marks in prelims. But again, if your jar has good amount of water, it is filled 50, 60 or 70% already filled with water, which is knowledge in this case, then you definitely have good chances of scoring high marks given the fact that we put in those pebbles into the jar and that water level comes up, and ultimately you are able to exploit that water. That means you are able to exploit the pre-existing knowledge that you already have. Now, dear students, given the fact that the way UPSC prelims paper has evolved and in the way the papers are being framed, you know it very well that it's getting really difficult to solve the prelims paper just based on knowledge. So I've used this allegory, this story of the crow and the pebbles to show how important knowledge and techniques, a combo of both, is required to score really good marks in the paper. Now, moving ahead, let's quickly see a few questions from 2020 paper to test how these techniques are useful. Now, what you're seeing on your screen is the chat history of my club, which was concluded a few weeks ago. I had asked this question from 2020 that under the Kisan credit card scheme, short-term credit support is given to farmers for which of the following purposes? And the options given were working capital for maintenance of farm assets, purchase of combine harvesters, tractors, mini trucks, consumption requirements of farm households, post-harvest expenses, construction of family houses, and setting up of family storage facility. Now let's assume that we have no idea whatsoever about this question being asked. So what is the way out? How do we get the correct answer? So here, what I call this technique is probing the compatibility of the statements with the keywords provided in the question. Now, what is the keyword here provided in the question? Short-term credit support. Now, it's short-term. That's the important keyword provided in the question. And if you look closely, there are two options which stand apart. Option 5, that is statement 5, says that construction of family houses and setting up of village storage facility. Now, construction of village storage facility, can it be done with the help of a short-term loan? Again, if you look at statement 2, which says purchase of combined harvesters, tractors, mini trucks. Again, can you purchase these stuffs, these machineries with a short-term credit support? Certainly not. It doesn't seem reasonable at all. So we assume these two statements to be wrong. I use the word assume because we don't know the answer for sure. So we are just strongly assuming statements 2 and 5 to be incorrect. And if you observe closely, if you remove 2 and 5, you are left only with one option, that is option B. 1, 3 and 4 is correct. So what have we done here? We have probed the compatibility between the keywords in the question and the statements and the options that have been provided. And dear students, please remember, often UPSC provides a weak link in such type of questions, and the weak links here being statement 2 and statement 5. I hope that's pretty clear, dear students. So moving ahead, as you can see on the screen, how our discussion went on and the students developed clarity as our discussion went ahead. Then we moved on to the next question from the 2020 paper. The question was, according to India's national policy on biofuels, which of the following can be used as raw materials for the production of biofuels? And the various options given were cassava, damaged wheat grains, groundnut seeds, horse gram, rotten potatoes, sugar beet. Now let's again assume that we haven't read the national policy on biofuels and we have no idea regarding this question whatsoever. So how can we solve this question based on techniques? Now let's read the options once again. It's cassava, damaged wheat grains, groundnut seeds, horse gram, rotten potatoes and sugar beet. Now if we look closely, two options, that is option 2, damaged wheat grains, and option 5, rotten potatoes. Now doesn't these two options hint towards the fact that something that is not edible or something that is liable to get wasted will be used to make this energy, and which makes complete sense. So we assume here, again we strongly assume here that 2 and 5 should be part of the answer. Now option B doesn't have 2 and 5, so we eliminate option B. Now still we are left with 3 options. Okay, so what about these 3 options? Again looking closely at the options, option 3 and option 4, what are they? Groundnut seeds and horse gram. Now we all know, we all have this pre-existing knowledge that India is largely dependent on imports of edible oils. So can it be the case that as a matter of policy, government diverts groundnut seeds from production of edible oil to production of biofuels? Again, that doesn't seem very reasonable because food security has to be paramount. Energy security cannot take precedence over food security. Again, that's a very logical thing to think. So what have we done here? We have probed the feasibility of the given option to be a part of this list. And after probing this feasibility, we have strongly assumed that groundnut should not be a part of this list because otherwise food security may get jeopardized. And if we look closely, after eliminating ground seeds, that is after eliminating statement 3, we are left only with one option, which is option A, which is our correct answer. Hope this is very clear to you, dear students. And so this is the way our discussion went ahead in the club, and again clarity emerged for the students. Then we went ahead with another 2020 UPSC question, which was 2020 question, which was with reference to India's biodiversity, Ceylon frogmouth, coppermith barbet, grey-chinned minivet, and white-throated red-starred are. Now, to be very frank about this, many students were caught off guard by the students. They had completely no idea whatsoever regarding attempting this question. Many students ended up just skipping this question or just marking it wrong. So is there a way out? Can we answer this question despite not having heard the names of any of these species that has been mentioned in the question? So here we will be using the extrapolation technique, where we use our pre-existing knowledge and we apply it to the context of the question that is being given. So extrapolation technique. What are the names being given? Ceylon frogmouth, coppermith barbet, grey-chinned minivet, white-throated redstart. Now, as part of our environment studies, I hope all of you have read about the critically endangered birds found in India. Now, it can be pink-headed duck, it can be red-headed vulture, it can be white-breasted bunting, and the list goes on. So, at the back of our mind, in our subconscious mind, we already know that birds are given such kinds of names, and even in this case, it is very likely that these species might be nothing else than birds. So, despite not knowing the answer, we strongly assume option A, which is birds, to be the correct answer. So, what have we done here? We have used the extrapolation technique. We have used our pre-existing knowledge. Remember the allegory, the story of the crow, that water, we already had good amount of water. We just put in some pebbles and could extract value from the water and mark option A as our correct answer. So dear students, these were few 2020 prelims questions that I have discussed with you to just show how beautifully techniques can help you to radically boost your score in the prelims exam. And the students who are part of this club that I have just shared with you are also benefited to a great extent, and the confidence level of the students has skyrocketed. Now coming to the revealed club, which is being spearheaded by me. Now I'll be teaching these various skills to you, and not only teach, I'll be interacting with you on a daily basis, 2 times a day. We'll be having chat based sessions. Essentially, revealed club is a chat based club in which we'll be having free willing chats. I'll be asking questions to you. I'll be asking questions to specific students. You can ask questions to me. You can ask doubts to me in real time. And this is how the interplay will go, rather than just having recorded videos with no interactiveness at all. I don't think that serves much of a purpose compared to this real-time chats. So a chat-based session, a 10 days club having 2 sessions daily. That's how it's going to be. Also, dear students, please note that it is a limited intake club. As soon as the capacity is reached, the enrollments shall be halted. Please do take note, dear students, and the link of the club has been provided in the first comment of the comment section below. So do explore the link provided in the comment section below. So dear students, that was all for today's videos. Please do take care of yourself during these tumultuous times. Jai Hind.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update from Civil's Daily.